Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Now let's start with the application integration or onboarding. Some organization they will call it as application onboarding. Some people will call it as application integration. Like what? Now let's see what are all the things that we need to understand to onboard or integrate an application with Okta for single sign-on. This is nothing but and like. People will say like, I want to onboard this application to Okta. Or they will say like, I want to enable single sign-on for this, my application with the help of Okta. Or people will say like, I want to integrate my application with Okta for single sign-on. Likewise, different people will come in different terms. They will come with different terms. That's why they have given like integration / onboarding, two things. Whenever they are coming to you as an Okta admin for integrating or onboarding an app, the first thing is you need to understand whether that is a custom application or the application that is available in Okta Integration network. How we can identify custom application or the application? First thing is, let's say for example, there is an app team. They are reaching you. You don't know about that app, what that app is doing. You don't know what exactly that application is used for. You don't know anything. 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 Before you are integrating it, as an Okta admin, you have to ask these questions. What is this application is all about? What is the purpose of this application? Whether this application is a cloud-based, because many applications are coming as a cloud application right now, right? For example, Okta. Okta, it's an application that has been hosted in the cloud. You are getting just an instance and working on it. Likewise, there are many applications which has been hosted in the cloud and they will just give you an instance. Likewise, you need to ask them whether it's a cloud application or it's an application that we have hosted in our on-premise data centers. That you need to ask them first question. Second question is, what are all the protocols that your application supports? What is protocol? What is protocol? Protocol, in the sense there will be a unique security feature supports for each and every applications. For example, one application supports SAML. SAML is a protocol used for integrating two applications that will be used for single sign-on. And there is another method called OIDC tree, OpenID Connect. People will call it as OIDs. This OIDC will be used for some set of applications to enable single sign-on. These are the protocols available in the market. You need to understand you need to talk with the application team to understand what is the protocol that your application supports. The first question is whether it's a cloud-based application or the application that has been hosted in your data center. First question. Second question is you need to ask which protocol that application supports. And maybe there are a few additional questions you can ask. For example, does your application holds any sensitive information or any sensitive data? For example, there will be multiple tools that is available which They will maintain the sensitive data, or maybe some personal information data also. For example, some application has been categorized PI application. Personal information, identification information will be stored in that application, which means your phone number, your employee's phone number, your employee's unique identifier number, maybe passport or Aadhaar card or PAN card, like that. If you go to Western countries, there will be an ID code called some number. They will know, they'll call it as some security number. That security number will be linked to all other IDs. Whenever you are joining an organization in Western countries, they will ask you a security number. You have to get that security number. Those security numbers will be maintained in some applications for some purposes. To protect those applications, you need to ask them a question whether you hold such kind of data or not. If they hold such kind of data, we need to give some additional options to them, saying that please enable a multi-factor authentication, or please enable location-specific authentication, which means if anyone is trying to log into that application from office, then only they will be allowed to access that application. If they access it from their home, or if they access it from their personal laptop, personal device, block those details. Likewise, you can add some additional questions to them, additional points to them. But these are the two basic questions to all the organization. If you are going to integrate an application, first question is whether it's a cloud-based or on-prem based application. Second question is which protocol that application supports. These are two things. Based on this, we can plan how we can onboard an application to Okta. From the first question, right, if it is a cloud-based application, they said it's a cloud application. I bought it from a particular vendor. Like that, they will say. Then what you need to do is, if it is a cloud-based application, there is a 99% of chance that that application is available in Okta Integration Network. If it is not a cloud application, if it is an on-prem application, there is 10% of chance that applications available in Okta Integration Network. For example, SailPoint. SailPoint will be an on-prem application, but you have an Okta Integration Network application available in Okta. Likewise, there will be 10% of chance that that application configuration is available in Okta Integration Network for on-prem based applications. But 90% of the cloud applications will be there in Okta Integration Network for sure. I will tell you for scenario for a few examples. O365, all your Outlook Teams, everything. That is hosted in Microsoft Cloud, Azure Cloud. That is available in an Okta Integration Network. Next one is Workday. That is a cloud-based application that is hosted somewhere. And we are just getting the instance and working. And Zoom application. You are meeting Zooms, right? That application. That is also a cloud-hosted application. It is hosted somewhere and we are getting the session for us and we are using it live. Likewise, there are plenty of cloud applications that is used currently in each and every organization. Based on that, you can decide whether it will be available in, but as an admin suggestion of what I am saying, right? Whatever the application that comes. Get some knowledge about that application and search that application name in this Okta Integration Network. If it is available, go ahead and integrate like this with Okta Integration Network. Or else, the second option is custom application integration. We need to give all the details from the scratch. We need to give what is the URL, what is the details that the application require, what is the protocol that that application will be supporting. We have to select manually everything. That's why we have given us two types of application integrations available. First one is for custom applications, which is not available in any of the cloud or any of the open source or anything. And I mean another thing is which is not available in the Okta Integration network. Simple as that. And the second type is OIN and based application. If that application is supported by OIN, you can directly go ahead and integrate it. Before jumping into sign-on methods that supports right, I'll give you some overview how the SSO works. I will start from the legacy's SO model. How, like let's say 15 or 20 years back, how SO was working and how it is getting converted right now. We'll see that. We have kind of this thing. Three diagram. The first one, right? You are a user. Let's take an example. You are a user. 10 or 15 years back, you joined an organization, and that organization. Create your account and your password like this. 15 or 20 years back, right? This is how the scenario will look like. You have to log into an application with user ID 1. For you, there will be multiple user ID and multiple password. Why I'm saying right? Earlier, there was no common systems. Each and every application will behave differently, like unique. They will be having the standalone process for them. For application 1, they will create a username in the format of alphanumeric for your username. And for the application 2, they will create the login ID with the help of email ID. At the rate, whatever the company comes. And for the application 3, they will ask some kind of alphanumeric or just a numeric value as an ID for you. And they will set new password for each and every application. They will give you unique user ID and unique password. For example, you can take a common scenario. Whenever you are logging into any applications, right? Any common applications. For example, your Gmail. You are using one email and one password. Your Instagram. You are going to use one user ID. Of course, there is an option right now. But I'm saying in a general term. You can use your user ID and individual user ID and individual password. Same thing for Facebook. Same thing for, let's say, Snapchat. For each and every application, you can create your user ID and your own user ID and one password. Likewise, the same kind of scenario was done 20 years back in all the organizations. They will create user ID and password for each and every applications for only one user. Only one user. They will create multiple user ID and multiple password. I have still remember, like one of my cousin, right? He was working in some company 20 years back. At that time, he used to store his username and password in Excel sheet. If you want to access, let's say application 1, he'll go to that Excel sheet and he will find that username there. And he will find that password and he will type there and he will log in. Because he don't know, like he worked on nearly 50 plus applications. All the 50 plus applications. We cannot make single username and single password before 20 years before I'm saying. That time still they are, not in the like. They are not migrated to the new system. They use like this. It's a headache for us. It's a headache for everyone, right? This is the first beginning, or what to say. First and foremost thing, the multiple username and multiple password was the first issue that all the organization faced. In that way, they have introduced this single sign-on. To overcome this, they have introduced this single sign-on. What is single sign-on? From the term, you can understand. Single user ID for signing into multiple applications. Single sign-on. If you see this diagram, you will understand. Your user ID and password will be maintained in one place. All the remaining applications will connect with that data store where your user ID and password is stored. And with the help of those data store, all the applications can allow you to log in with the single user ID and single password. This you can see. You might have seen before 10 years back this kind of scenario. You might have seen this 10 years back. What this application will do is, this application will get in touch with the Active Directory or any directory with the help of LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. Whenever you are logging into this application, there is a mechanism from app 1 to send a notification to directory in the LDAP. There will be an LDAP configuration given in the application also. That application will directly hit that LDAP URL and it will validate the user ID and password that is entered in the application console. Once this is done, once it is validated, it sends a success notification to the application. And that's how you will get an option to log into the application. Right. That's how 5 years or 10 years back you might have seen that. But for the past 10 years, they have introduced more in detail security protocols for communication between application and this directory. That's what we will call the different types of protocols. For example, SAML, OpenID, Connect, Secure Web Authentication. Likewise, many different protocols are available in the market. What organizations started doing is each and every application started supporting those protocols. And there is a tool which has been identified like Okta. Those Okta will support all the available protocols in the market. That if application 1 wants SAML with the SSO tool, that can be integrated. Because Okta or the SO tool have all the protocols. And application 2 supports OpenID Connect SSO tool, have that option. If application 3 have a secure web authentication methodology SO tool, have that. Likewise, they have evolved more. This was like 10 years or 7 years back. It looks like this, but recent trend looks like this. There is a SSO tool who will be sitting in the middle. That SSO tool will support all these kind of protocols. AWS Federation, ODXI, SEMAOth, all the protocols. And all the applications will make use of this protocol and get in touch with the SSO tool. And SO tool will take care of doing the authentication and authorization with the directory or with the data store that all your data, access information, identity information are stored. In this way, you are making the transaction between app to this data store in a secured way. But here, right, there is no security block or there is no security check for the data transfer between app and the directory where the user information has been stored. Authentication authorization is happening. To avoid the security reasons, the security breach, this kind of mechanism has been introduced in the middle. The SO tool supports all this protocol and different applications, supports different protocols. And there is a single place where you can configure all the applications and maintain the application configurations. That's where the SSO tool come into the picture. And as you might have known, like there are plenty of SSO tools available in the market right now for enabling this kind of SSO. And this architecture like this one, right? This can be applicable to all this SO tool. If you take Ping Federate, you can replace this SSO tool with Ping Federate because Ping Federate support all this protocol and which will be supported with different applications. And Ping Federate can able to directly integrate with the directory that we have, external director, internal director, whatever the directory. Only this name of the tool will change or the vendor of the tool will change, but not this tool. This tool will be there for sure. How we are going to talk between applications. That's what the sign in method says. Instead of saying sign in methods, we will basically in technical terms, we will call it as protocols. What protocol this application supports? What protocol we can integrate with this application from Okta? Likewise, we will ask. Protocols is a security mechanism. SSO protocols is a security mechanism used between your SSO tool and your application, end user's application, to have a secure communication or data transfer between both of them. That's why this is a protocol will come into the picture. And in the market, right, there are plenty of SSO, like not plenty. Plenty I can say like nearly, as per my knowledge it is 7. 7 types of SO protocols are available in the market. The most commonly used protocols are, I would say, SAML OADC and US Federation, Web Service Federation. But there are some limitations. For example, OpenAI Connect, right? You cannot integrate OpenAI Connect with OpenAI Connect protocol to all the applications. There are a few restrictions for enabling OpenAI Connect for all the applications, like Application 1, Application 2, Application 3. I'm saying some applications will support only SAML-based protocol supports. Some application will support US Federation. I would tell you the US Federation will be completely supported by Microsoft-based applications. O365. For O365, you need to configure with US Federation. No other protocols will be supported for O365 Office 365 application. Likewise, each and every application supports different types of protocol. And I will tell you most commonly used protocols is SAML. Let's say if you are integrating 500 applications in your organization, 400 applications, among that will be SAML for sure. SAML is really an efficient protocol used for a data transfer for authentication and authorization purposes that will really help you to enable this single sign-on. With the help of the 7 protocols between applications, I'm saying we'll talk more in detail about SAML. What is the SAML and how the SAML data transfers are getting done? And what are all the things that will be available inside that SAML? We are talking that the data transfer I will be taken care of by the SAML. How the data transfer can be happened? In which way we say this is a more secured one? The SAML is a secured one. Likewise, we will see like next slides. You can see clearly like the definition of SAML or expansion of SAML. Security assertion markup language. Have you anywhere had heard about this markup language? It is simple. What that markup language will do, basically. I'll show you some definition. Right? This is how the tag looks like. Inside the tag, if you type something, that will be considered as the tag. Now let's say if you want to add a paragraph. Let's say you want to type something. a big paragraph like this and you want to close this, you will do like this. This we will call it as assertion. Whatever the data that you are typing in the predefined, this we will call it as assertion, as I said. Whatever the data that you are typing between this assertion, that will be transferred or that will be displayed, that will be stored. If you want to make this application as HTML, this is how you will give the tags. This is how we will give the assertion. Maybe you can call it as a markup language. Between this markup language, if you type something, that will be displayed based on the markup language type that you have selected. If you have selected that as a paragraph, that will be displayed as a paragraph. If you select that as an image, there will be an image displayed in that screen, in the end screen. Likewise, it is completely given on the markup language. That we will call it as normally, that we will call it as markup language. Here same kind of scenario is there in SAML also, but it will be somewhat more details available in that SAML file. The file that we will be sending and that will be getting transferred. Security assertion or whatever the data that they are sending, right, that will be in the format. Like that will be in the assertion format. Assertion format is nothing but this thing. It will be like in a predefined format. For example, if you are opening this, that should be a closure. And if you are giving some details, that detail should be linked to another detail. Like it should be a predefined one. It should be an assertion based one. People will call it as like that. That's what here it is used. Same thing here, it is used. Here we used hypertext markup language HTML. But here we are going to use XML based methodology. The previous one is hypertext markup language. But here it is XML based methodology. What is XML based? XML based is also looks like this. But the thing is, you don't have anything predefined like this. For example, if you want to mention the paragraph, you need to define a tagline P greater than less than inside in the middle. There should be a P. Then only these details will be displayed as a paragraph. But for XML, you can give like this. Or you can give like this. It is not restricted. Or it is not made by someone like maybe this HTML and all, right. Someone have made that. Someone have made like if you type something in between that P, then only you will be displayed with the paragraph. Someone have defined that already. It's a predefined one. But XML, there is no predefined at all. There is no other thing that you need to predefine. It is completely up to you how you want to modify it, how you want to maintain this. That's what XML says. And you can see the definition. XML is an open standard for transferring identity data between two parties. Why I am saying is, let me open this again. Here, this app is going to get the user ID information and not user ID, authentication, authorization information from this directory. That's what I just mentioned. Open standard for transferring identity data between two parties. Between this party, between this application party and between the data store party, the data is getting transferred in a secure way. And it's open standard. And there is no like, you don't need to pay any additional amount for getting that XML ML? No, you don't need to pay. It's its open standard. You can get the detail and you can get the format that you want. You can configure it based on your organization's requirement and you can define XML file. It's completely your wish only. SAML is specifically used for transferring the data. We will see what are all the data that is available in that SAML. What to say this transfer happens. And we will see what are all the information that is getting transferred and how it cannot be hacked, how it cannot be retrieved. Those things that we will see in upcoming slides and all. Here, there are two things that you need to understand. First one is identity provider. Second one is service provider. What does identity provider and what is service provider? Let's come from service provider. Service provider in the sense. Let's say, for example, you are accessing Zoom. For what purpose you are accessing Zoom? You are going to schedule a meeting. You are going to message someone in the Zoom chat, or you are going to join a predefined meeting from Zoom app. Likewise, these are all the things. These are all the services that you are getting from Zoom. Joining meeting schedule, a meeting chat with some peoples. These are all the features. These are all the service that you are getting from an application, Zoom application. That's why these kinds of application, we will call it a service provider. If you get some service from an application, that we will call it a service provider. Now let's take a scenario. Zoom has been integrated with Okta for single sign-on. Here, which you will call it a service provider because you are going to access something. You are going to get some service from Zoom, only not from Okta. From Okta, you are going to get authentication, authorization information only, your identity information only. But from Zoom, you are going to get your meeting scheduling. You are going to be chat with someone like that. That we will call it a service provider. I will talk about, let's say, Office 365. Outlook. Outlet has been integrated with Okta. What from Outlook? What you will do? You will send an email. You will go through the email. You can schedule a meeting. You can, like many actions are available that you can do, many service that you can get available from that Microsoft Outlook. Right. Here it's a service provider. Okta is an identity provider. I will tell you why Okta is an identity provider. Okta is the one which is passing the identity information from your directory, like this directory to the application. Okta is the one who is going to take care of transferring the data from one place to another place. That we will call it this identity provider. Why identity provider specifically? Because your identity has been provided to some other application. That's why they have named it as identity provider. Okta is providing some identity information to the application. Once that the identity information has been provided to that application, user can be able to get that service. That's why it is called a service provider. The Zoom application or the Salesforce or Outlook, whatever the application that you are trying to access. And in short term, right, we will say like IDP, identity provider, we will call it as IDP. And for service provider, we will call it as ASP. Like just like that, I will say you just need to initiate an IDP, identity provider. Like I will say. And tomorrow, I will say like you need to access this application from service provider URL or ASP URL or ASP initiated flow. Like that, I will say in common terms. That you have to make sure that IDP is nothing but an identity provider. ASP is nothing but a service provider. Let's read this. I think we have read this already. Service. SAML assertion is an XML document that the identity provider sends to the service provider that contains the user authorization information. As I said, once your authentication authorization has been completed, identity provider tool or the Okta tool will send a response to your end application. Response in the sense it is sending the data. How the data looks. The data looks like an XML based format data. I said right in the beginning, it's XML based data. The data will be being transferred in terms of XML. Extensible markup language, we will call it as XML. Let's talk about the next one. Authentication assertion provides identification of the user and provide the time that user logged in and what method authentication they used. Let's say, for example, you are logging into an application. That application will send a notification to Okta and Okta needs to send a response back to the application saying that this user is an authorized user. How that authorized user, how application will know is that only with the help of SAML, response that is being sent from Okta to the application one. Right. That's what here it is mentioned. Authentication assertion provides the identification of an user. Which user is staying to log in? Which user have access to? Which level of access? Which level of level of access in that application? And provide the time that user logged in. Let's say, for example, I'm logging in by this time 12.5. My session should be handled only 1 hour. After 1 hour, my session should be killed or my session should be expired. To get that information also, the SAML will contain the IMEI and what time I logged in. And also it will have the data of what methodology or what protocols that is being used. Let's say, for example, that application supports SAML. There will be a details that the data transfer happened with help of SAML or this data transfer happened with the help of AWS Federation. It should have that kind of information also in that SAML. Let's come to the third point. You can see a clear view. An authorization decision assertion says if the user is authorized to use the service, or if the identity provider denies their request due to password failure, lack of. Let's take a scenario. Someone have hacked your account. I mean not hacking. They are trying to access. They are trying to use your. But they don't know the password. If you enter the wrong password, if the hacker entered the wrong password, automatically the hacker's access will be blocked. Because you only know that password. That is blocked. That is first thing. And second thing is, let's say for example, you are trying to access an super admin portal in Zoom application. But Okta have a configuration details that you have only admin access to Zoom application. If you access that super admin portal access, automatically your access will be restricted. You can only read, only access. That will also be decided by Okta. We are talking about this authorization decision. If your user ID and password is wrong, Okta will restrict that user to have access to the application. At the same time, if you don't have permission for that application or the service, let's say admin service. If you are trying to access Zoom application's admin portal, if you don't have access towards it, Okta will take care of restricting that. And that's what Okta is there. That's what Okta will do with the help of the SAML. This is what about the second one. I'll directly go to the benefits of a SAML now. It is very obvious. User's password never crossed the firewall. Because Okta will take care of checking the user ID and password inside our firewall itself. Because the directory is stored in the our data center's firewall. Our organization's firewall, basically, because this directory information this is only available in the data center. Our organization's data center. The username and password will be stored only here. It will not be transferred to applications. It will not be transferred. Let's say this app is hosted in some cloud, local cloud, or some Amazon cloud or Microsoft cloud. You don't need to send the password from your directory to that application where it is hosted somewhere in the cloud. It is not a secure way. They are saying user password never crossed the firewall and loose coupling of directories. Let's say, for example, you have only one directory in your organization. That is fine. You don't need to worry about that. But let's say, for example, in your organization, 10 directories are there. 10 individual directories are there. Each and every directory may have 10 to 20,000 users. Let's take an example. SAML will not worry about that directory issues. If your account is maintained in one domain, it is more than enough for me. I don't need to cross-verify all the 10 domains. That is available. And the third one is improved online experience for end users. Of course, you might have known like 15 years back. If you access any application first, it will load like anything slowly. It will load. It will load. It will get the images. It will get the paragraphs first. Then it will get the images. Then it will get the video. And then it will give the GIF, something like that. It will start. It will be very slow earlier because that time the SAML, this kind of things were not there. Everything was manual. Everything was loaded manually mostly. Before 10 or 15 years back, I'm saying. But right now, with help of the SAML, the data transfer will happen between Okta to the end application within microseconds. Not even 1 second. Within microseconds, the data transfer will happen. And it is very easy for you guys to, give an online experience to the end users. If you integrate with SAML kind of thing. And also configuring SAML between applications is very simple. As an admin, you just need to understand only the terms and only the flow. If you understand that, that is more than enough. You don't need to train anyone manually for understanding that SAML those things. Reducing administrative costs for the service providers and also for the service provider also. I'm talking about not only for identity providers but also for the service providers. Because service provider can able to easily integrate with the help of SAML to Okta, or else they need to integrate a code. That code should be built on Java. And you need to hire someone who knows Java and ET or Python. Whatever the code, it supports us. If you integrate it, if you enable the SAM configuration automatically, you have an option to, make use of what exactly you are getting. And the final one is risk transference. Of course, we are not transferring any data, any password in the data XML file between Okta and the end applications. It is very less risky one. It is very transparent one. You don't need to worry about the risk factors, password risk factors, whenever you are integrating an app with SAML. These are all the benefits. These are all the benefits. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.